couple of examples of liners, kind of like a new one compared to used ones on a machine, so you kind of know what you're looking at when you go to change them. Basically, here's a worn liner that we replaced. This is actually out of a S21040R is the liner, but you can actually start to see like the grooves and stuff, and you start seeing where it's getting pretty thin along the edges where the liners meet. It's kind of where a lot of the wear happens. You kind of want to keep track of those because you don't want it to go all the way through to damage the side of the housing. To kind of put it in perspective, here's a brand new liner kind of right next to the worn one, which this one's not completely gone, but it's pretty well worn. And then here's a good example of like a side liner that is completely worn through. This liner, basically the shot has completely worn through the side. This is just something you kind of want to watch. You kind of don't want it to get to that point, just because at that point the shot is kind of going through the liner and it's starting to go the side of the blast wheel housing, which you just start talking into big money if you have to replace one of those. So you got that. This is like another liner that came out of the exact same machine. This would kind of be considered the hot side, and this would be the other side. So it wasn't a ton of wear. Actually, this one could have probably stayed in just a little bit longer. Being the repair that it was, we did a complete liner change on it. Also because just right up here is the point where it started getting a little thin, and we kind of didn't trust that part of it. Is just because it gets thin kind of right where the top liner meets the side liners, the shot kind of finds that groove and kind of starts kind of taking advantage of that quicker. Okay, first here we'll go ahead and take a look at a couple blast wheels. This is a used blast wheel. It came out of a machine. This is kind of like showing an example of a used blast wheel when it's time to be changed. You can start to see where the shot has kind of worn grooves throughout these blades, like the propellers there, through the shot. Starts making them really thin. What eventually happens is these chunks will end up breaking out and kind of getting thrown with the machine. So this is, once you start seeing real big wear marks like that, it's a pretty good indication of time for a new blast wheel. So to show, this is kind of like what a new blast wheel looks like from the start to begin with. We recommend to check the blast wheel every 50 hours. Now you may end up getting some more life, so the best thing to do is kind of open it up, take out the control cage so you can see inside the actual blaster here, and check how much wear is actually on it. If it's still not too worn, you can go ahead and last longer. Some jobs may eat up a blast wheel quicker than others, so that's kind of where we give the 50 hours is basically when to check.